before I even get out the car. So today I was able to preach at a church. It's my second time there, preparing a sermon for the young adults college group of a Korean church. Everyone there is Asian, and here probably studying at our local college, Baylor or something like that. Um, and I'm glad to be invited to preach there because I reflected on my drive back from Waco to here in Temple where I live. I was reflecting that not everyone would get the opportunity probably to preach in this church, and just an awareness of that. And I'm glad that I'm able to preach there. Um, I know that I was invited because I'm part Asian, and used to live in Asia, and so I think I know that's why the pastor reached out to me to ask me if I would be interested. But the reason why I agreed to come back is because when I got home the first time I preached there, it was just like I realized, well, I don't want to talk about that. What I want to say is that this Sunday, um, again, the music there is so worshipful, um, and the songs they chose were, older contemporary music, English songs. Um, but when they sang "Build My Life," I just thought, as I was singing the words too with them, I remembered how I sang those words. I said that even to the church in my when I started my sermon. I just needed to be in the moment, in the spirit, and just tell them my response to worship as I prepared to preach. Being in worship with them together. May they be more than words that we sing. May it be actually how I live my life, because I believe those words. And so I was just reminded of that, reminded how I used to be on the worship team, how I used to lead the congregation in music, and then I thought I remember I was thinking about this as I was singing. It was just sort of like an overview of my life. I moved from worship leader, well, not leader, but well, it depends on the situation, like the context. Sometimes I did lead, but moved from leading others in worship through worship to prayer, to in reach groups, to coming up with collaborative, sort of creative ideas and started a bunch of new things. Like a summer group, or like various online groups, or just did a, just I, as I was listening and thinking about how I built my life with God in so many different ways, with different communities, because of all the places that we've moved to and lived. But now I'm doing this. Now I am preaching a sermon. Like, now I've stepped into this new role, to be able to craft and deliver a word to the people. Like, who knew that I would be here? Who knew that I would be doing this? I was doing all that I could do at those times, and I wasn't in my mind looking for anything else or complaining about what I was able to do. I was just happy to do what I could do to join in with the church, or the church universal, and provide opportunities for us to come together and worship, various forms of worship, and prayer, and reading of God's word, and just and now I get to do this. Yeah, I was moved by that song, and the reminders that I believe that God was reminding me of all the different ways that I've grown through service, through various forms of service. It was through my participation and just using, trying out my gifts and talents, not just wanting to offer. Yeah. Anyway, so the preaching tip for today is I wrote my sermon, but on the drive over, it occurred to me that I did not personalize it for today as much as I could, especially to a group of college students that are trying, who are probably don't, not don't, but could use more concrete examples in their, from the pulpit, why not? So I thought I needed to add that. So I did at the end. I added what happened when I left there last time. What happened for me. And how God saw me through that. And how I came out of that little period of grief and loss. So I shared that with them at the end. It wasn't planned in my sermon. Actually, I did plan it. I put it at the beginning. And then when I kept working, I was like, I don't like that there. So I took it out. But on the drive over, I was like, I need to personalize it. And then I put it back in. Not the same thing, but it's basically the same explanations of what happened. I put it there at the end. Another thing I realized, I guess to summarize that preaching tip is, don't be afraid to change your sermon up a little bit. Like to add something that you think it's missing, to give concrete personal examples if you think it would be helpful, especially considering your context. I actually had someone come and talk to me because of something I said about my family situation. So this is what we want. Like I'm not just there to deliver a sermon. I'm also there because I want to be helpful. I'm a pastor. They have their own pastors, but I'm a different voice. And maybe they just want to talk to somebody else or hear this new perspective, or this perspective put slightly different and yet still a believer. So I don't know what God's doing with that, but that was nice to listen and hear that conversation and have that conversation, because it helped me to understand more of where they are, at least that person. And then I realized on my drive home, I was like, you know what? I would like to know where everybody's at. I was thinking, well, when I go to Pulpit Supply, I don't know where people are. Pulpit Supply, you don't know. You're responding to the congregation. You're responding to the assignment. And sometimes you're not given, the information that you would get if you were only at one church, week by week by week. And so I'm at a new place, just preaching as needed and through Pulpit Supply. And so I realized today that, I would like to know more about them. Fortunately, but unfortunately for me, fortunately, I think it's a great format that they use, because after the service is over, they break off into pre-appointed groups with their leaders and talk through the questions that they're given, which are actually given to them by the person giving the sermon in advance. So they make copies of it and everything, and then they give it out, and then they talk about it. So I love that they get to actually wrestle with things a little bit together in community with one another. I love that. What's sad about for me about that though is that I don't get to then talk to people unless they skip that part, which the person I was talking to apparently said he had some stuff he had to do with school. But I don't get to hear people's reactions or responses. They do that in their small group with one another. So I realize I miss that. I wanna. I usually there's some interaction. So I did have interaction today, but it wasn't a variety of interaction from different folks. So I think what I realize I might do is I might reach out to my connections there, the deacon there, and ask him if he would be willing to send a note to the group leaders, just asking if there's any response that they want to share, or if there's something that would be helpful for me to know about their people. Because the next time I preach there, which is already scheduled, like I would love for it to be a little even more tailored, not just to generally where they are as young adult college students, but like specifically, what are you wrestling with? I would really like to be munching on that, thinking about that with God, and preparing something that may be more precise towards where they are. And I don't know if that's gonna come with, like, if they're gonna respond, but it was a thought because I really like talking with people versus at people. So just know who you are, right? And so I'm just gonna ask and see what happens. Done hurt to ask, so I'm gonna ask. So that's my preaching tip and responses for today. After preaching in Waco, I'm grateful for how God has opened up these opportunities for me to preach something I never even allowed myself to imagine that I would be able to do this. And look, wow, yeah. Oh, how far you will go. And maybe this ain't even it. God has plans for me and good plans for you. Let's see what unfolds. In the meantime, let's do all that we can do to build our life on that strong foundation, right?